Hello friends out there, it's so good to have you today, and it's so good to know that you keep watching our video series on UTME videos. It's so great to have you today. Last week we discussed a lot on logarithm, and I guess I gave you some quizzes. Did you go about solving them? I know you did. I know you are good students and you can try them. And if you solve those questions, I guess there are a lot of answers you should have. Though you have different answers, the answers might be wrong, but you can be corrected. Now, displayed on the screen, you see the solutions to the quiz question on logarithm I gave you last time. Did you get these answers? I want you to look at the screen. Are those answers correct? If not, you can get a step-by-step solutions to these questions you just solved in our ebooks. You can easily download them in our website and you'll see how we solve them step by step. That will help you enhance your skills in solving questions on logarithm. It's so great to have you today. Today we are going to look at a new topic in totality. Today we're going to look at standard form. Now, to start with, at the end of this video, I assure you, you should be able to carry out all operations on standard form. Are you ready for us today? Now let's go. Before we start, I want us to look at the challenge question for today. We have 3 questions that are more like challenge questions for today. Displayed on the screen are the questions. The questions might seem so difficult, you know. Can you solve them? I know you can, but what I want to promise you is we'll solve them together, and at the end you'll come to know that these questions are very simple. We're going to solve them together, and I want you to watch this video to the end to see the solutions to these questions. But before then, let's start off with the introduction. As an introduction, standard form is a method used to express very large and small numbers. Examples of such number is 237, 800,000 and 0.00009. Now mathematically, standard form is written as a times 10 raised to power x, where our a is equal to numbers between 1 and 10, and x is equal to either a positive number or a negative integer or number. Now I want to look at some keynotes that we need to pay attention to when carrying out problems in standard form. 1. Keynotes 1. For smaller numbers, counting from the decimal point to the last value to your right will always result in negative integer. What do we mean by this? When you are counting from the decimal point to your right, it will always give you a negative power or a negative integer. Now look at this example. We have 0.00275. Now for we to convert this to a decimal number, we need to count from the decimal point straight to our right hand side. And when we count from the decimal point to our right hand side, we are going to count 5 digits. Now if you count that 5 digits from 0 to 0 to 2 to after 7 to after 5, we are going to get 5. And so that means the decimal point will now appear after 5. So that will give us 275 times 10 raised to power minus 5. Is a negative. Why? Because we counted from the decimal point to our right hand side. So any smaller number we count from our decimal point to our right hand side will give us a negative integer. That is keynote 1. Now we want to look at keynote 2. Now for larger numbers, we usually count from right, that is end of the last 0 to the left. Now we'll look at this example we'll be giving here. We have 17,600, that is 17600. in this instance, we are going to count from, it all depends the standard form we want to arrive at. We want to arrive at a standard form from after 1, we are going to count the point. We are going to put the point after 1. That is between 1 and 7. So if we say 1.76 times 10 raised to power 4, if we count from between 1 and 7 to our right hand side, if we count from 0 to points between 1 and 7, we are going to get 4 decimal places. So for larger number, we count from the last 0 on our right hand side down to the what? To the left. So we count for larger number, we count from the right to the left. So from 0, we'll count 1, 2, 3, 4. So from 0 to the point between 1 and 7, we'll get 7. So if we count it, our significant number will now be 1.76 times 10 raised to power 4. Now if I want to get a significant number that will give me a 17.6, all I need to do is to count from the 0 within my right hand side to the left hand side, and that will give me the first 0, the second 0, and then the third 0 between 7 and 6. That will give me 17.6. So that will give me 17.6, and if I count from that my right hand side to my left hand side, I have 3 countings. So that will give me 17.6 times 10 raised to power 4. It all depends the significant figure you are asked to convert the numbers to. Whatever significant figure you are asked to convert the numbers to will determine what your power integer will be. And if it is a smaller number, definitely it will give you a negative integer, negative power integer. And for a larger number, it will give you a positive power integer. We are going to see examples on how to carry out the transformation or the conversion of these numbers to number bases from the 3 sample questions we'll be taking on our video today. Now I want you to sit down straight, pay attention as we'll be taking the first sample. Remember our challenge question. We'll solve them together and want us to work together to see solutions to these 3 samples on standard form. Now let's begin with sample 1. Yeah, here we are now on the first sample question for this topic, standard form. Now the question says simplify and express in standard form. Now I want to tell you that this is a typical of JAMB question you'll be given in your exams, and you are asked to solve this question in not less than 4 seconds. That is what JAMB wants from you. Now how can you go about solving this with the simplest method in just 4 seconds? Now let's look at this. Now I want to look at how we will solve this, looking at the rules guiding standard form and the rules we explained in the keynotes. Now I want us to look at this. In most of these, we will be analyzing most of these numbers from the left to the right hand side. So most of them are negative integer number. So let's express all of them in standard form. Now we have this. This will give us, from here we'll count to our right hand side. It will give us a 1, 2, 3, 4 and a 5. So we have a negative 5. So we have 275 times 10 raised to power 5 multiplied by, here we'll have a 1, a 2, a 3 and a 4. That will give us 64 times 10 raised to power minus 4. Sorry, this should be minus 5. Now this will be all over. This will give us 1, 2 and 3. So this will give us 25 times 10 raised to power minus 3 multiplied by a 1 and a 2. That will give us our 8 times 10 raised to power minus 2. Now we've expressed all the whole values in standard form. Now we want to reduce them further. Now to reduce them further, we are going to take this to be 275, right? Multiplied by 64, multiplied by 10 raised to power minus 5, now multiplied by 10 raised to power minus 4, all over 25 times 8, right? Then multiply by 10 raised to power minus 3 multiplied by 10 raised to power minus 2. Now remember our product law in indices. We did that in our fourth video. If you haven't watched it, our video series, you can go back to the fourth video and you'll find out what we discussed on indices. We're looking at using the product law of indices to solve this. Now this will give us 275 times 64 multiplied by 10 raised to power minus 5 plus minus 4. Now remember your indices. If you are given these two values, you with the same base, you add the powers. Now if you add that, it's going to give you this. So to save our space, minus times plus, this will give you plus bracket minus 4. To save our space, that will give us minus 4. So this will give us minus 5 minus 4. All over, the same thing goes here. 25 times 8 times 10 raised to power minus 3 minus 2. So in total, this will give us these two values. That is, this will be equal to 275 times 64 times 10 raised to power minus 9 all over 25 times 8 times 10 raised to power minus 5. Now we want to break this down so that things can be, we can easily simplify. So this will now give us, let's separate the values in base 10 from the main values. That will now give us 275 times 64 divided by 25 times 8. Now this will be multiplied by 10 raised to power minus 9 divided by 10 raised to power minus 5. So now, according to indices, this will be equal to 10 raised to power, the quotient law in indices, minus 9 minus bracket minus what? 5. Now we'll simplify this further. If we want to simplify this further, it will give us a value which I want us to look into now. To simplify this further, we're going to get this value. We're going to have 275 times 64 divided by a 25 times 8. Now multiply by 10 raised to power minus times minus will give us a plus. That will be minus 9 plus 5. So this will now be equal to, we want to simply reduce this further. Now a 2 will go here to give you 4 and a 2 will go here to give us 3 and 2, right? Good. Now a 2 can still go here to give us a 2. Now a 2 can go here to give us 1 and remainder 1. 2 in 12 will give us 6. So we are going to have this. This can still divide further, right? A 2 can still go here to give you 1 and a 2 can still go here to give you 8. So if we simplify this further, we are going to have 275 multiplied by 8 divided by 25 multiplied by 10 raised to power minus 4. We are reducing it gradually. Now 5 can go here to give you 5, right? And 5 can go here to give you 5. Remember 2. 5 in 25 will give you what? 5. So what will that give us? 5 here can go here to give you 1. 5 can go here to give you 11. So what we'll here is 11 times 8, right? Times 10 raised to power minus 4. Now this times this will give you an 88 times 10 raised to power minus 4. Now remember the question. The question, they say you should express your solution in standard form. Now, the next thing we are going to do now is to convert this 088 into standard form so that we can reduce this further. Now 88 into standard form, it will give you 8.8. Remember, 88 into standard form will have 88 into standard form will count from this outside to from the right hand side to our left hand side with just a point. So that will give us 8.8 times 10 raised to power 1. Why? Because we are counting from the right hand side to the left hand side. Remember the second keynote. When you are counting from the right hand side to your left hand side, it's going to give you a positive power. So this will give us this times what? 10 raised to power minus 4. Now if we do this further, we're going to have 8.8 times 10 raised to power 1, the product rule in our indices, plus bracket minus 4. So that will give us 8.8 times 10 raised to power 1 minus 4. Now, conclusively, our result is going to be 8.8 times 10 raised to power minus 3. And this is finally expressed in what? In standard form. So you see, it's very easy to go about the solution of these questions. Once you start, you see how you break them down to the smallest down. Remember, JAMB is just going to give you 4 seconds for this question, and it's going to be 4 seconds because we have been solving it together. That's why it took a bit longer. But if you follow the steps we've shown you, you can solve further question on this. I want us to take further more question on the as we look ahead to solving the second sample question. Now let's look at the second sample question. Let's look at sample 2. It was displayed on the screen, and the question says express the product of 0.0014 and 0.011 in standard form. Now I want us to take this one at a time. Now you are asked product. Product is multiplication in standard form, so in mathematics. So to solve this, I want us to look at this. We'll have our 0.0014 multiplied by 10 multiplied by 0.011. So as a good thing, I want us to convert these two things to standard form. Remember, I told you in our keynote, when you are counting from your left to your right hand side, you are counting negative. And when you are counting from your right to your left hand side, you are counting positive, because the power will definitely be positive. So let's go. We'll be counting from our left hand side to our right hand side. So if we count this will give us 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that will give us 14 times 10 raised to power minus 4 multiplied by 1, 2, and 3. That will give us 11 times 10 raised to power minus 3. So if we simplify this further, we are going to get 14 times 11 multiplied by 10 raised to power minus 4 times 10 raised to power minus 3. Right? Guess you're following. Now, looking at the product law according to our indices, same base, the powers will be added. So that will give us 14 times 1 multiplied by 10 raised to power minus 4 minus plus bracket minus what? 3. Guess you're following. That is the point you get. Now let's look at this. 14 times 11 will give us 4 times 4 will give us 4. 4 times 1 times 4 will give us 4. 1 times 1 will give us 1. This will give us 4, and this will give us 1. If you add them, it will give you 154. This will give us 154. Now, taking this your 154 here, we'll have 154 multiplied by 10 raised to power minus 4 minus 3. This will be equal to 154 times 10 raised to power minus 7. So now we need to convert this 154 to standard form, just as we did initially. Now to convert this 154, remember it's a positive number, it's a whole number. We'll start counting from our right to our left. We'll count 1, we'll count 2. So that will give us 1.54 times 10 raised to power 2 times 10 raised to power minus what? 7. Simplifying further, we'll now have 1.54 times 10 raised to power our product law of indices 2 plus bracket minus what? 7. So this will result to 1.54 times 10 raised to power 2 minus 7. So that will give us finally 1.54 times 10 raised to power 2 minus 7 is going to give us minus what? 5, right? So this will be your final solution. Your final solution is going to give us 1.54 times 10 raised to power minus what? 5. So that's the solution to that question. You see, it's easy. It appears difficult initially, but then in just 3 seconds, you can solve this. So let's look at the final sample question for today. Right, now let's look at the final sample question for today. The final sample question is simplify 1.25 times 10 raised to power 4 multiplied by 2.0 times 10 raised to power 4 over 6.25 times 10 raised to power 5. Definitely, what they want you to do is to reduce this to the simplest term and express your answer in standard form. Now, let's solve this together. Now, we are given these same values. All you need to do is to simplify. Now, we'll have our 1.25 multiplied by 2.0. Now, times 10 raised to power 4 multiplied by 10 raised to power 4. We want to separate the powers from the main numbers. That will be all over 6.25 times 10 raised to power what? 5. So using our product rule indices, we can simplify this, and that will give us 1.25 times 2.0 multiplied by 10 raised to power 8 divided by 6.25 times 10 raised to power 5. Now let's multiply this and this together. Outside there we'll have 1.25 multiplied by what? By 2. This plus 8. You carry 1 to give you a 5 plus 1. That will give you a 6, right? This times this will give you 10, right? You write 0, carry 1. This times this will give you 4. Right? Good. So we'll have our point. 2 times 1 will give us. So this will give us 2.50. So we'll have a 2.50 multiplied by 10 raised to power 8 all over a 6.25 multiplied by 10 raised to power 5. So we need to reduce this value into a standard form. Now, remember, since the point is here, we'll be counting from this side, the left hand side, to the right hand side, and that denotes negativity. We are counting from the left hand side to the right hand side. That denotes negativity. So if we do that, we are going to have 1, 2. That will give us 250 times 10 raised to power minus 2 multiplied by 10 raised to power 8 all over 1, 2, 625 times 10 raised to power minus 2 multiplied by 10 raised to power 5. So now let's see how we'll separate these two parts so that the powers can be separated from the real numbers. So we'll have this will give us 250 divided by 625 multiplied by 10 raised to the power minus 2 plus 8 all over 10 raised to the power what? Minus 2 plus 5. Now let's reduce this further. 5 can go in both. 5 here will give us a 12, remainder 2. 5 in 25 will give us a 5. 5 here will give us a 5 with this 0. So this will give us 50 multiplied by minus 2 plus 8. That will give you a plus 6 divided by multiplied by 10 raised to the power minus 2 plus 5 will give us a plus 3. So reduce this further. If 5 will go here to give us 10, 5 in 12 will give us a 2, remainder 1. 5 in 15, 5 in 12 will give us 2, remainder 2. Then 5 in 25 will give us a 5. 5 will go further to give us 5 in 10 will give us a 2. Then 5 in 8 will give us 5. So generally this will now give us 2 over 5 multiplied by 10 raised to the power minus 6, 10 raised to the power 6, 10 raised to the power 6 divided by 10 raised to the power what? 3. Now let's look how we can simplify this further. This will be equal to 2 over 5 multiplied by 10 raised to the power 6 minus 3. Remember the product rule. Remember the quotient rule in indices. So this will now give us 2 divided by 5 multiplied by 10 raised to the power 6 minus 3. That's 3. So now what we need to do now is to simplify 2 divided by 5. Change that fractions to decimal. What will it give us? We'll have 2 divided by 5. It's not possible. You write a 0 and a point. You put a 2 there, right? Now 20 divided by 5 will give you a 4. 4 times 5 will give you 20. And this will give you 0, 0 when you subtract them. So we are going to have this. We are going to have 2 divided by 5 will now be a 0.4 times 10 raised to the power what? A 3. Now we're going to change this 0.4 into a decimal place. So remember, we'll be counting from the right to what? The right to the left hand side, and that portrays negativity. So this will give us 4 times 10 raised to the power minus 1 multiplied by 10 raised to the power what? 3. Now this will be equal to 4 times 10 raised to the power minus 1 plus 3. So finally our result is going to be 4 times 10 raised to the power 2. Now you see that huge value that was given to us initially. When we simplified further, our result is what? 4 times 10 raised to the power 2, because minus 1 plus 3 is going to give us plus 2. Now you see, solving questions like this can be very, very easy if you take it a step by step. Now you see these 3 samples. I want you to go ahead further, solve questions under standard form, and see how you can prefer solutions to them. If in case you have any question, feel free to reach us and we will be able to mentor you on those questions and see how we can solve those questions together. It's a delight having you on our program. Now I'm going to give you some quizzes. I want you to try them and I will see you in the next video.